I'm Ken, and I'm a type 5, and I've been studying Enneagram for probably the last 5 or 6 years. Since I began studying the Enneagram, my first inclination was to attach to type 9, type 6, and other ones, and it took me a little while to really settle on a type 5. So it's been a journey of beginning to really look at myself and where I've come from, and the sort of characteristics that came out of my early part of my life, my childhood, my young adulthood, and that's how I arrived at the type 5. So it's been a journey that's ongoing yet to really understand what this type 5 and the attributes are, and how I can express or identify or grow from that.
You mentioned even from childhood, in retrospect, how did your personality type manifest itself in childhood?
In childhood, I recall that I very much liked to be in my own world. I found ways to entertain myself. I found it through books, through different types of play, through interaction with a few close friends, but only usually one at a time, and with some relatives and those within the household. But I was really pretty comfortable in my own skin and in my own sort of imaginary world at times.
People say that type 5s like knowledge. Would that be true of you also?
I think liking knowledge has always been a big draw for me. I found that when I was young, I would try to understand things, and if I struggled with understanding, I may move on until I could find something that I could go deep enough into to begin to understand it. So gathering knowledge to I guess, understand my world was always important to me.
Sometimes type 5s are perhaps not quite so comfortable in social settings. For instance, a cocktail party might be just about the least enjoyable one. Is that something that holds true for you also?
In social settings, I've grown quite a bit, but going back to my childhood, I really was uncomfortable in unfamiliar settings, with settings where I wasn't sure about the environment, about the people, and I gravitated towards people I knew, and I really didn't like a lot of chit-chat or small talk or that sort of thing.
Would you talk a little bit about how the Enneagram has helped you in your personal life, maybe in terms of relationships, understanding other people?
Understanding the Enneagram has helped immensely in understanding who I am in relationship to others. And I think the best example of that would be with my wife. We've been married for 42 years, and there were times in the early part of our marriage where our styles were so different that we had a difficult time with conflict.
I think that's a perfect explanation as to how the Enneagram is helpful. Thank you so much for sharing this information about your type.
You're welcome.